So here's how you can store food without plastic. All plastic leaches both microplastics and hundreds of chemicals that we know to be hazardous to our health. And it does it whether or not it's hot. There's actually lots of different ways that you can store your food without plastic. Like you're not going to be able to fit like 50 meal prepped dinners inside your freezer like I've seen in some of those TikToks, okay? That's not going to happen without using plastic. However, you can get a lot in a freezer, so you can invest in platinum silicone bags. Now they have gallon size ones. Stasher is really great. I've also seen generic platinum silicone bags on Amazon. There's also really great ones I've seen at Target and even Trader Joe's. Now, even though these might cost a little bit more upfront, you have to think about how much were you really spending on Ziploc bags if you were buying it every 2 weeks or every month. Like that does add up. These are totally dishwasher safe. They're going to last for a really long time, and you can even defrost in them as well. Also use quart size mason jars. If you are storing something wet in glass, you want to leave a bit of a gap at the top because anything wet is going to expand when it's frozen. And so you don't want that glass to break. That has happened to me before. All the options I listed before are fabulous for leftovers. So your stasher bags, Pyrex, again, mason jars, bowls. Paper bags are a great option, especially for drier foods. So things like cheese is really great. Okay, cool. How to store raw meat. I got this question a lot. So you have a few options here, okay? And it truly depends on the size of the cut of meat that you're trying to store. So when it comes to red meat, I find that tends to be stored a little bit easier in butcher paper, okay? You can get heavy duty butcher paper online. If it's FSC certified, even better. If not, no biggie. However, do try and avoid anything made out of recycled materials. In general, you want to really avoid anything recycled for your food. Also, you want to avoid any kind of butcher paper or parchment paper that has a nonstick coating. So for chicken, fish, sausage, like other smaller cuts of meat, even things you might be marinating, find that those tend to store a little better in Pyrex, right? However, if you're trying to store a bigger amount, you can easily just use a casserole dish, like the ones that you might use on Thanksgiving. If that lid is plastic, don't worry about it, whether it's Pyrex or a roasting dish. If that lid is plastic, it's not a big deal if the food never touches the plastic, right? As long as it's not pressed up against your food, you're totally fine. Lastly, there's a few other kitchen items that I always recommend and that I always have in my kitchen. Universal silicone lids. These are amazing because you can use them to cook with. You can also just store things in the fridge with them. They will create this automatic seal. They're amazing. I love those. They last forever. Beeswax wraps is also another really cool option that you can use. This is really good for like oddly shaped fruits, like half an avocado, right? Because you can shape it around something.